The next thing I want to do is edit out part of my audio. So what I'll do is I'll use these handles on my playhead to grab the sections I want, because I want to keep everything in sync. I don't want to just edit things out of the audio track. I want to make sure that I'm including the screen recording and my video file. So I'll grab that section just like I would before, and I can just cut that section out. Now, there may be times where I have to go in and I have to edit out a word or two. So I'll zoom way in and I'll try and find, if I say an or something like that. So it might be that I have to edit this word out, whatever this is. I have no idea what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. And I can go in there and I can cut that out. Sometimes I need to edit a word out of a phrase. And so I'll zoom in far here and I'll take a look at a section where I'm speaking a few words in a row. So here's an example. Let's say I needed to take out this word. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. If I go in, I can select it and I can cut it. But what happens is, what you'll hear is a click whenever you get to this point. So it will still have this word and go into the next, but it'll have this click in between, and I don't want that click. And so what I found is that you can fade out this part and then fade in the next part, and that helps to remove that clicking sound. So let me show you what I mean. What I'll do is I will try and grab the smallest part of this I can. Now I'm already zoomed in as far as I can, and I want to try and grab a piece. Now as I'm dragging my mouse, I'm holding it down, I'm dragging, it's not going anywhere, and then it jumps out. I say, okay, well, I didn't want these 3 frames, I just wanted 1. So I'll try and go back, and I'll go 2, and then I try to go back to 1, and it jumps to 0. All right, well, let me go back again, and I'll drag it out, and then it jumps to 2. No, wait, that's too far, let me go back to 0. Oh, it jumped back to 0. And I'm just trying to get this 1 frame. So a way to do this is to hold down the Control key and drag, and then that lets me just grab a single one. So this Control key will help me to override the snapping, where it's trying to snap and say, oh, well, you probably want to go right up next to the line. No, in this case I don't. Most of the time I do, but when I just need this 1 frame, this 1 little piece, I hold down the Control and drag to get that 1 frame. So now I have this frame, so I know that this is going to go out and I want it to come down at the end. So I'm going to go over to my audio effects and I'm going to say, let's fade this part out. And I'll just drag this down to the highlight, and when I let go on the highlight, it grabs and creates that fade out. So I'm zoomed in all the way. I'll move this over so you can see. So it goes over, it stays at whatever level this is, and then drops down here to 0. And so that's what it's showing with these points, is that we stay normal and then drop down to nothing. Now I want to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll double click this to go to the beginning of that track. And when I try to grab, it keeps jumping around. I can't get just the 1 frame. So again, I'll hold down the Control key, I'll drag to the right, and now I just have 1 frame that I've selected. I'll go to fade in, because I want this to start at 0 and then go up, and I'll just drag it to the highlighted area, and I see it applies it immediately. So now this audio will go in, it'll dip down, and then come right back up, and it will avoid this clicking sound in between my words. If you needed to fade in or out a larger section, so let's say I go to the beginning of this section, and this was music perhaps, and I wanted to fade in, all the way up to here, like 2, almost 3 seconds. Again, just highlight that area, choose fade in, and it will fade in that duration of time that you've selected. Now I'll undo that because I don't want that fading in. Another thing that I've had to do occasionally is when these words are right up against each other, like we had over here, I need to hear the end of one word and the beginning of the next. So what I'll do is I will put these on 2 separate tracks. So I'll right-click, insert below, and I'll put this track in and I'll drag it down and move it slightly to the left. Now I'm going to make this row height a little lower so we can see what's happening here. Now what I'll do is I'll try and have it overlap just like 1 frame or maybe 2 frames. Again, I can use the Control key to drag it to just get 1 frame if needed. So sometimes if you are talking and you need to get the end of one word and let it run into the beginning of the next so that it sounds more natural, this is the way to do that. I have 1 phrase that's finishing and 1 that's starting, and there's just that little bit of overlap. Like I said, it's 1 frame, maybe 2 frames, and it will just sound more natural that I'm flowing from one word into the next.